Hello and welcome to the Radical Podcast, inspired by the essence of the word radical, proceeding from the root. We explore the roots of metaphysical wisdom.
This season is all about divination, tarot, and the power held within our intuition. This is The Radical with Nicole and Christina, the two metaphysical girls in the material world. Hello and welcome to The Radical. I'm Nicole.
And this is Christina.
Today's episode is the first during Gemini season, so we're talking about card number 6, the Lovers.
Happy birthday, Geminis. Me and my dog are both Geminis. Well, sun sign Gemini. That's our sun sign.
I have a couple of quotes that I pulled from my books to kind of set the tone, because I think one thing that has definitely consistently come up when we have been discussing this card is that it's not necessarily the card of predicting romantic love.
Yeah, yes. There's another card for that.
Yes. And there are elements of this card that seem to have been forgotten, not focused upon. So what we are going to try to do with this card during this episode is remember that this is a Gemini card. It is of the air element. Where is it in the hero's journey? And look at all the other pieces that make up this card. And
even down
try to
the house, the planetary ruler, Mercury.
Exactly. So we're going to be recalling and reclaiming some of the attributes and correspondences of this card and try to paint a bigger, broader picture. So like I said, one of the considerations with this card is that it's card number 6. It's pretty early on in the hero's journey. We have not learned our lessons yet.
Yeah.
And when we are considering romantic partnerships, it is my opinion anyway, that we sort of know who we are and what we stand for before we decide to partner up for the rest of our life. One of my books says this about the Lover's card. Somehow you are being put to the test before you can enter the next stage in your development. Another one of my books says you always have the choice to align with divine love by balancing the masculine and feminine energy, or the yin and the yang energies within yourself. And you can strive to ensure that this balance is reflected in your relationships. And I picked those two because one of them has the keyword choice. This card is largely about making choices and also balancing our inner energies and having that reflect outwardly into our world and in our relationships.
I just said this before we hit record, and I was almost being apologetic to Nicole about the length of my notes and the amount of direct quotes I had pulled from some of my favorite tarot authors. And I was like, I think it's because the images in this card don't represent what this card means to me. And you know, the even going deeper into more history than we normally do is going to happen today to really get to the reasons why this card has kind of turned into what it is in our culture. This is one of the first cards where I am really struggling with the imagery and the representations through the traditions that we have today in our English speaking world. And I'm going to touch on that. Even the name of the card, Lovers versus the lover. Historically, depending on what tradition the tarot card comes from to us, it was an individual making a choice. It was one lover. Somewhere, because there was multiple people on the card, it turned into the lovers, and then it started to take on a different narrative in our culture. So the The Lover, love. This is called the marriage, but not in like the marriage that we see marriage of as in our today marriage, but the marriage of two worlds, the marriage of two ideas, the marriage of yin and yang, and also the two roads, the the uh the choice of what path to take. The card number is 6. Nicole said this. We're 6 in the hero's journey. Roman numeral VI 51.
One of my books says that the number 6 can represent the energies of harmony and reciprocity, or a mirror image.
Mm-hmm.
I did see also in a different book of mine that the Lovers, being card number 6, the companion card is the Devil.
Mm-hmm.
This idea that card 15 reduces to 6. It's interesting also that in our society that is influenced by Christianity, there's this idea that 666 is the number of the devil.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I have notes from Alana Fairchild and her book, Messages in the Numbers. The 6 brings us a message of love. Love can be so much more healing, so much more powerful than we dare dream. But we have to be able to receive it, and only we can choose how much we are willing to receive by our attitude and choices. To receive the endless love in many forms offered to us by the 6, we are most likely going to need to face some fears and grow at various times in our life. She also goes on to say, I acknowledge the fear that this number can generate in us. I want to lay it to rest. There is no need to fear the 6 or 666. In fact, it is extremely likely that if you resonate with this number, you are one of those souls who are strong enough to help the world overcome the fear of the feminine, of the body, of the material world, and of the goddess.
Oh, what a great quote. I'm so glad you brought that up, the correspondence between the I don't even want to say the lovers anymore. I want to say the lover and the devil. Nicole, you and I were talking about cards that were polar correspondences. I think the lover and the devil are our counterparts.
Yeah.
And in our Rider-Waite-Smith tradition, going back to the imagery, the characters are on the lover card and the same characters are on the devil card. That could be a contrast, like a counterpart card study to do. The element of this card is air. Air, as a classical element, represents intellect, communication, movement, breath. Air functions as an invisible force that connects all things together. Air is a yang force, a yang element. It's associated with the mind, the sky, and the key to knowledge, inspiration, and rapid change. And it's the corresponding to the swords in tarot. Is this a yes or no card when you pull this in a yes or no tarot card question? The resource I have has it as a yes card. And then I got all in my head about choices. And then I was like, maybe this is like it depends card. Because if this card is about choices, then your choice could also be no. So maybe this card doesn't give you a very clear answer. It tells you you need to make the choice. Put your tarot deck away and you need to make the choice. Stop looking for someone else to tell you what to do. You need to decide. This card is ruled by a zodiac sign. The zodiac sign is Gemini. We did the Gemini podcast last year, recognizing the duality within ourselves. I went back and visited the website jessicadavidson.co.uk. Fantastic articles about the zodiac signs and the archetypes. And a couple of the notes I pulled forward for there was duality is fundamental to reality. And we have, and what we learn from the Gemini energy and also from the lessons of the Lover card is that we have a desire to heal our inner split. The duality hurts us, but the only way to divinity and to awaken ourselves is to recognize and embrace both halves of ourself. A note about Gemini, because I'm not going to stop talking about how this is an air sign and how this is an intellect and a choices card, but the Gemini appears to be split in two between intellect and emotion, light and dark moods, introversion and extroversion, masculine and feminine, spiritual and material, rational and mystical, and so on. This is true for everyone. But with Gemini, it's the central archetype driving their experience, and they may struggle to understand themselves as a result of it. So, taking that as Gemini attributes and applying it to this card, you can look very deeply into the choice here, and we'll get into it. But sometimes some interpretations of this card is it is a choice between vice and virtue. Is it a choice between the hard right and the easy wrong? Is it a choice between love or fear? And that's the Gemini archetype, that it's both. Oh, and a note about the sacred marriage. The sacred marriage doesn't eliminate the opposites. They're still there, but in relationship to each other. That's another reason why this is called the marriage. The sacred marriage or the spiritual marriage. The planet is Gemini's Mercury, and the house of sharing. The mantra of this house is I think. This is the house of language, communication, your daily commute, short travel, local travel, and thinking and movement.
The third house.
Some of the correspondences for the Lover tarot card. The Hebrew letter is Zain. The symbol is sword. Historically, Zain means sword or weapon. It symbolizes conflict, sustenance, and the defense of life. It's also frequently associated with the sword of the spirit and the power of speech and defense. And it can represent the spiritual battles encountered in all life. The sword can be tied to that air element. The sword is also the intellect and the mind. The meaning for us in our tarot studies is soulfulness. The tree of life in my reference book, it has the 7th pathway. Okay, but in my chart, it has it as the 17th pathway. And as Nicole and I just discussed recently, the tree of life and Kabbalistic studies are full of different traditions and different patterns and different ways of moving up and down the tree of life. So I'm just putting that note there, that it's the 7th in one place and the 17th pathway in another place. But it does connect the 6th sphere of Tiphareth, ruled by the sun. Tiphareth is the sphere of beauty and rebirth and ascending consciousness. And that pathway between the 6th and the 3rd sphere, the Na, the sphere of understanding. It has the notes in my book, understanding the goddess and the female principle or the feminine principle, ruled by Saturn. Chakra. In my reference book, it has the heart chakra. And I immediately was resistant to that because I was all in my head about this being air, air, air. But then I remembered the heart chakra is where our energies balance from the lower chakras and the upper chakras. So the lower triangle and the upper triangle come together in the heart. So the heart is a place of making clear decisions. The heart is a place of combining and assimilating information and making choices. And the decision, and this was so cool, I read for the heart, if you're making a decision from the space of the heart chakra, you can ask yourself, is this decision made with love or fear? I was in my head about the third eye being the place where we're weighing all information and giving ourselves time for deep thought and deciding, because we're governing intuition and strategic thinking and foresight, big picture type stuff. And that might work for you listeners. The third eye, or the Anjana chakra, located between the eyebrows. And the question for this chakra in decision making matters is, does this align with my deeper truth and intuition? Still balancing, still putting information together. It's just different points of view from where you feel the decision needs to come, from the heart chakra or from the third eye chakra. Okay, crystals. I literally typed into my search engine, what crystals are there for making decisions? Fluorite, amethyst, and carnelian. Fluorite is also really good for Gemini because it has the two colors in it, the green and the purple. I have a tower. I really like this crystal a lot. And I do associate it with Gemini energy and really anything that has to do with bringing two things together in a beautiful, balanced way. Dual colored stones can help you when you're kind of like trying to bring things together or when you're trying to make hard decisions. In my reference book has the stone, and one of my other reference books has the stone, rhodonite, which is it's that pink stone. It's a stone of compassion and emotional healing. This stone, specifically from the point of view of the Lover's card, promotes harmony in relationships, encourages forgiveness, and assists in making heart-centered decisions. Rhodonite aids in opening the heart chakra, allowing love to flow freely. Usually, Nicole and I spend a lot more time on card comparison because we're really talking about what our cards mean to us today. But I do want to talk about how we got the images and how a lot of our modern day tarot cards were influenced by the Italian, French, and early German and English tarot cards. Essentially, the first tarot cards, this card was done to depict an actual marriage of two people. It was done for two people. It was commissioned for specific families for their personal tarot cards. That marriage narrative has persisted in a lot of the many traditions we have today. The earliest known tarot cards, the Italian, it was just love. And this was in the 15th century. It was aristocratic weddings. Once the cards became available and wanting to be bought and used by everyday people, the illustrators changed it to a individual choosing between two other individuals. It was generally a man choosing between two women. There was often the Eros, Cupid, a cherub shooting an arrow down, because it was still tied to amour. It was amour, the marriage between two aristocratic people. Then it was amour, the lover, the man choosing between two women, and generally the women were portrayed to be virtues. And this brings us to the story of Hercules at the Crossroads, which became a huge influence on this card. Listeners, go look up that story. There's lots of art on this. There's lots of stories about this and different points of view about Hercules' choice, Hercules at the crossroad, and Hercules choosing between vice and virtue. And that became a major theme of this card. And that is kind of where we're getting the one that we get from Rider-Waite-Smith, with the spin of the Judeo-Christian biblical influence from the Golden Dawn in England around this time that the Rider-Waite-Smith card was done. Then it became the choice of, we could say Adam and Eve, who choosing the apple, obedience or knowledge, innocence or knowledge. Whether or not they ate the apple. And the thing is that the Eve, the feminine element, the yin element, consumed the apple, and then they were never meant to be separate from that point. They were always supposed to be joined. Then woman was specified to be separate because she did something wrong and the man was still in the right. That is solely because of the patriarchal influence on those Judeo-Christian stories. Adam and Eve are like the first, like one of the earliest twin archetypes, because according to the story, they're made of the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They were never meant to be separate, and one wasn't meant to be right and one wasn't meant to be wrong. They made that choice together. Now I'm off the soapbox. A.E. White went into the Judeo-Christian biblical influence with the card we have today. We have the Archangel Raphael, the Tree of Life, the Tree of Knowledge, the snake, Adam and Eve, their nudity, and as Nicole and I said, the counterpart to this card is the devil. There they are again in another situation. Instead of an angel, it's the devil, but the two of them are still in a place of making a choice. But they represent the yin and the yang of every human. They're one unit. They're not supposed to be separate units. The twins are supposed to be together. Adam and Eve are supposed to be together. I don't want to say any more about that because I'll keep going, and I think I made my point. And listeners, if you're inspired or your interest is piqued about this, there's so much good information out there in books and podcasts and videos and articles and historical information on this. I just loved going down the rabbit hole on this for you listeners to kind of give you a very brief synopsis of what's going on with the imagery of this card. Okay, themes. Choice. And this choice could change the whole direction of your life. This choice could reflect how you want to live. It could reflect your values, what you love. Not romantic love, but what is your passion? What is your desire? And that might be a romantic partner, but it might not be. Here's a quote from tarotheritage.com. Your commitments define you. With your values as a guide, you weigh your options, then commit with all your heart and soul to a special person, a life path, or a project. Then begins the hard work of tending this commitment daily. Choice, love, struggle, and commitment are all implicit in this card. I love that quote. Now I just need to come up with an image that says that in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like it's a person standing in front of like a forked road and deciding like which way to go or which choice to make. But it is, and I think I'm also very sensitive about the imagery of this card because it is a Gemini card. This is one of the cards that are a key part of my birth chart, one of the cards that are a key part of like my influential cards, my sun card, my ascent card. I mean, so I want to know this card a little bit better. And I'm sure, Nicole, you've got cards that you're just like, I'm good with it. And other ones you're like, no, I need to know. Why is this card look like this? Where did it come from? What does it actually mean? And listeners, you do too. You have some that you feel a little more passionate about. And we hope we can help you open the Pandora's box of information on those tarot cards. But I am going to stop there.
I have an astrology forecast since we are at the beginning of
Yes.
Gemini seasons. Gemini energy, Christina mentioned some of it already, but Gemini is about duality, communication. Remembering this is a Mercury ruled sign, communication, and adaptability. In our podcast on Gemini, we talked about how Gemini energy is one of joy, being dynamic, being able to change and develop, and also versatility and being proficient. The lower vibrational energy of Gemini, we can think about disconnection, being disconnected to our inner self, to our wisdom, to our intuition, maybe not listening to our inner voice. And as an air sign, Gemini energy moves quickly. Gemini is connected to the nervous system. So during this season, it's a good time to maybe revisit our grounding and centering practices. We can possibly have a propensity towards getting swept up into brainstorms or states of overwhelm with Gemini energy or during Gemini season. And because of its connection to the nervous system, Gemini can also be very helpful and supportive in rewriting and re examining old narratives, old inner talk tracks that kind of dictate our thinking and our behavior. And it's a good time to maybe rewrite some of those, to rip up those contracts and make new ones. And another key thing is Gemini energy is less about picking a side. It's about acknowledging the whole and the totality of duality. It's about having the capacity to be two different things at the same time, to allow two things to be true, to hold space for two opposite counterparts. And this card is about making a choice, but the first step in making a choice is seeing the full picture. So that was just a little revisiting. The sun enters Gemini on May 20th. On May 23rd, we have our waxing half moon in Virgo. May 31st, our full moon in Sagittarius.
Is that a blue moon? Is there 2 full moons in May? Am I remembering
Yes.
that correctly? Okay.
Yes, it is a blue moon because it's the second full moon in the month of May. Christina raised her hand. It was really cute. On June 8th, we have a waning half moon in Pisces. June 14th, new moon in Gemini. And on June 21st, summer solstice, and the sun leaves Gemini and transitions into Cancer. This podcast comes out on May 21st, and the sun, Mercury, Uranus, and Sedna will all be in Gemini. Back on April 26th of this year, 2026, Uranus re-entered Gemini after it had been in Gemini. It retrograded back into Taurus, and now Uranus is in Gemini for a bit of time. We are sort of in this fun time frame where Uranus in Gemini is going to begin forming 5 exact trines to Pluto and Aquarius. We talked about that in our episode on Uranus. That can be some intense energy, transformational energy. And Sedna has been in Gemini since April 27th, 2024. And because her orbit is so massive, she will be in Gemini until August 2065. Sedna is associated with themes of isolation and sacrifice, as well as transformation. Sedna represents the hidden aspects of ourselves, past wounds, and ancestral patterns.
Card comparison. I'm going to start with my Spirit Song Tarot. This is card 6, called Love. The author has chosen the wolf as the spirit animal of this card with the keywords of choice, and trust. A group of wolves is called a pack. Wolves are highly, highly social animals, which I'm kind of vibing for the love. The wolves as a social animal living in family units, family packs. They use complex communication. I think one of the other things we think a lot of wolves is kind of how the wolf howl and the wolf yip, like they're communicative animals. I see this fitting very well with Gemini as well as love. They're in diverse habitats all over the northern hemisphere. The wolf as a spirit animal is as complex and diverse as the wolf living on the planet Earth, like because they live in different climates, they live in different cultures, they live in different regions, but generally a wolf as a spirit guide is deep intuition, intelligence, freedom, and strong social connections. As a guide, because they live in family units, they can symbolize loyalty and bravery, and also the balance between personal independence and community. The author writes in their guidebook, Wolf lends his discipline and harmony in relationship building and decision making. He urges you to sing the song of your heart's essence. Tune into your inner voice for guidance. Through this, you will access the wisdom needed in making the best choices. Somehow the author managed to like sum up that whole meaning and everything in that sentence. That vibes with me.
My first card comes from Zodiac Tarot. It is two nude figures standing under a formation made up of angel wings. I've been looking at the angel wings on and off for a while, and I'm not sure what shape it's trying to make or what it's trying to symbolize, but I think it definitely is an interpretation of Archangel Michael in some way.
You are using a lot of words.
I'm using a lot of words to say I don't really know what's going on.
To delicately describe that shape. Listeners, go look at this, send us an email, and tell us what you think that looks like. I'll tell Nicole what I think it looks like offline. But from a distance, I saw something very different. That is a very interesting shape. That's an interesting symbol. There's a lot of wings going in a lot of different directions.
From her guidebook, she says this card represents the multiple parts of us, masculine or yang, and feminine or yin, and their nuances. Together, the two figures and the angel can share something about the body, mind, and spirit. Our ability to choose increases and is aware when we listen carefully to these three voices. And the card Christina just shared and the little bit from her guidebook where it said, tune into your inner voice for guidance, accessing the wisdom needed to make the right choice. This card touches on that too. And whether it's angelic, religious, spiritual, intuition, whatever you choose to call it, there's this sense that there's a guiding force, a benevolent force that's helping you choose. My next card is from the Antique Anatomy Tarot, and this is a organ heart with pink carnations. And from one of my tarot books, this is not from her guidebook, but one of my tarot books says, in the Waite deck, the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, the Lover's card portrays the Archangel Raphael, patron saint of healing, as the background figure. The Lover's card can signal a need for healing, either physical or spiritual. This is a good time for a heart-to-heart talk. In previous episodes, we've talked about the electromagnetic capacity of the heart versus the brain. and how the literal electromagnetic field of the heart is so much greater and measurable at a greater distance further outside of our body than the brain. So when we talk about people like using their heart to make a decision, a lot of times that gets demeaned or minimized in our culture because we're like, we need to be logical and use our brains. But
Yeah.
really, being heart centered and using our heart to as a guiding force and to make decisions is actually extremely intelligent because it has more electromagnetic force and this really great capacity for sensing and perceiving information. The heart is definitely the central focus of this card. And the carnations can represent protection and strength, healing. They can have romantic elements to them, but they are also known as the flowers of the gods. And so that brings in not just this romantic love, but divine love element. So we get sort of a bigger, broader definition of love in this card through the carnation. And then from her guidebook, she writes, at first glance, the Lover's card appears to be about romantic relationships. That can be the case, but its main theme is that of choice. When faced with choices, some of us use our intuition while others use logic. The Lovers ask that you attempt to marry these two polarities.
And that is the nature of the two, the yin and the yang, are using your head or your heart. And how do you make those two come together? Oh, this card is I love it. That was so good. And also in English, we use the word love, and in other languages, they have more than one way to say love, like family love, sibling love, romantic love, adoration love, like multiple different, not definitions, but different classifications of love. We have to think about that too as we look at this card, because when you see the Lovers in our culture, that's your head goes just right to romantic partnership. And that is the name. Oh, is it the Wild Unknown Tarot? Is card 6, Roman numeral VI. This card is called The Lovers. Keywords are union, desire, and joy. This has 2 Canadian geese flying over, they're flying in tandem. In the background is an incredibly beautiful, radiant sky. Well, I say sky, background of rainbow colors. Canadian geese are large migratory waterfowl native to North America. Here I go right into information and logic whenever I'm kind of like in my head. But I'm trying to find, they mate for life. And depending on where you live, you may see them flying in their groups together in their V formations, and they call to each other when they're flying in their V formations. So I can see the Canadian geese and their attributes, their vocalization, their connectivity. I don't I don't feel that this particular author has any choice or decision making elements in it. I think that they're focusing on community, moving together, maybe migration and verbal communication and union. Beautiful card. I love rainbows. Anytime there's a rainbow on any card, I'm like, yes, I love it. And this is like a radiant burst of rainbow colors in that card.
My next card is from the Medicine Woman Tarot. Card 6. I think Christina's laughing because of the.
Yeah.
I know why she's laughing.
This card is like, we've done some fun. This card is the most interesting imagery and discussions we've had in a minute. The lover card, like, and I haven't seen all your cards together, and they are so different. Every one of
Mm-hmm.
your cards is so different. Every one of my cards, like, because I have animals in mine, so there's a little bit, but every card is different. If you didn't have the name on it, how would we even know that they were the same card? Do you know what I'm saying? We'd have to really look for similarities.
Yes. So this card in the Medicine Woman Tarot is renamed Ecstasy. And the imagery, I think, is more rated PG-13 or rated R. I'm not going to describe it. You can go look. Um, But I do enjoy what the guidebook says. In the guidebook, it says, a balance is taking place within you. Enjoy it. I remember this was the first card I drew from this deck. And I remember I was sitting in our Airbnb in Portland when I drew it. The image definitely doesn't convey that same message that's written in the guidebook, but
That's what
here we
I'm
are.
finding. Sometimes the images, and that's what I'm working through, listeners. Like, I understand that I'm a product of the society I grew up in and the information that has stuck with me. I am trying to break through my assumptions, right? Like the things that we see. I look at that card and I'm thinking what I'm thinking, and then what you just said, and I'm like, yeah, that's different. It is,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is a fun card.
I really like the card from Mystic Mondays.
Yes. If I had to pick a favorite out of every card, that is the one I'm gravitating to the most.
We have two flamingos, and they're sort of in this like mirrored stance. They form a little heart shape with their necks and their beaks. So that's kind of cute. But if you look at like their bodies, the way the pink is shaded,
Mm-hmm.
you can
Mm-hmm.
see this yin and yang relationship. So, for example, if you look at like one of the outer kind of wings, the tip of it is white on one of the flamingos, and then the mirror image, it's dark pink. So you get that yin and yang happening. It's very subtle, but it's there. And then in the background, there's a path that diverges. It becomes two separate paths that lead to two separate mountains. And there's a palm tree in the middle. So we get the concept of duality and the concept of choice in this card, as well as love. You get kind of a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of everything, and I like it.
I like it a lot. The colors of that deck too is always so striking. They use color so carefully. The next card I have is the Secrets of the Witch's Garden. This is card 6, Roman numeral 6. The name of the card is Lovers, and the keyword is Eros, as in Eros, not arrows. It's Eros. Eros refers to the Greek god of love, equivalent to Cupid, but more broadly, Eros is passionate, sensual, romantic desire. You know how I just said different words for different types of love? Eros, that word for love, is of this classification, and it'll refer to the intense longing or erotic love. The imagery of the card, I see an echo of Adam and Eve. There's an apple, the apple tree behind the couple. Um, they don't have clothes on, so you're kind of in that space of they're in a space of innocence and a space of protection and privacy. Um, but yeah, this card is one of the cards from one of my favorite deck that I am trying to look past and into the card. And I mean, I guess it's kind of like a lesson for us about being too reliant on imagery to give us impressions. It's important, but at the same time, there's always more than just the imagery of the cards. It's helpful to know history and to know, where it fits into the hero's journey and all that stuff too.
My next card is from the Light Seers, and maybe at the risk of irking Christina, I kind of like this card. Okay. And it's really just straight up like it is the lovers. It is like two people in love. And I kind of like it. And I'm sorry that I like it.
It is very airy. Like there's definitely an element of wind in that card that I didn't really think about until this moment as I'm looking at it. I'm like, where's the Gemini? I'm like, there's Gemini there. It's there. That
There's like
air
wind
element,
blowing through her hair.
The air element is there.
What I like about this card is I see that the two people who are in love are older. One of them has gray hair. So there is this sense of like they have been on their own personal hero's journeys. They've gained some experiences. They know what they're looking for, and they're ready to make a heart-centered commitment. They know what's going on. They're not young and naive. They have been around for a while. They know what's going on. The other figure, so one has gray hair, the other one has a tattoo. I do not see this tattoo as Cupid's arrow. I think it could definitely be interpreted that way, especially since it's on the Lover's card. But I see it as a symbol more related to Chiron and going through our personal healing journeys in preparation for a deeper love or aligning with somebody else or harmonizing with somebody else. It's this idea of as within, so without. We've done our inner work, which is what Chiron sort of is all about, the wounded healer. We've done our healing work. We've addressed our wounds. From the guidebook, she says, you are sitting on the cusp of a type of profound connection that happens when two souls are intertwined and their entanglement forever marks their individual paths. Will you embrace the spiraling energy that unwinds between two people who are beginning to connect and choose to shift into this relationship or not? While partnerships are beautiful gifts on the path, you must also seek to give fully without weakening your resolve to remain whole. Remember that self-love is the key to balancing the duality of any relationship. My final card is from the Muse. We have a sort of collage of flowers, angel wings. There's two people sort of walking towards the middle of the card where there's a lotus flower. And from the guidebook, it says, it's talking about one of the characters. So it says she feels no fear until the moment that she sees her, the other person approaching from the opposite bank. Skip, skip, her heart jumps. She feels excited and attracted to the graceful creature, and it is clear that their awareness is one of mutual fascination. Old panic begins to creep in, memories in her gut, unhealthy experiences, and the rustling wings reach down and inch them closer together. Little spirit, if you want love, you must make a choice to love.
I love those cards. Okay, I've got one card left. The Sacred She, this card, Roman numeral VI. The name of the card is Love. This is a lovely card to look at. I love candles. I think we can all two candles with the flame connected, and just a beautiful representation of how the energy of the fire is radiating out from there in warm, inviting colors. I love what the author wrote in their guidebook. Love is love. Love is not this. Love is not complicated or cruel. Love is not blind or dumb. Love is not abusive. Love is not demanding or controlling. Love is not a test or a problem. Love is not political, greedy, or stingy. Love is not possessive, impatient, or wishy washy. Love wants not, needs not. Love holds no grudge, stakes no claim, has no boundary, no face, no gender, color, or creed. Just as sunlight dances over water or silently enters a darkened room, illuminating all that it touches, so does love gently glow from within, brightening all. Love's radiance loses nothing, yet the more it is felt, the more it increases. The wellspring of love never runs dry. Just as a solitary flame is undimmed by lighting 1,000 candles, each of us is a conduit for love. In that way, we can illuminate, nourish, and support the world.
Yes.
I love that. So when I see those candles, I think about that. Your flame, the flame of that candle is never diminished, no matter how many candles is lit from that candle. It stays the same. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes. A collection of words, recognizing duality within ourselves, counterparts, complementary, choice, a fork, a trial, a test, a healing opportunity, commitment, union, and alliance, alignment, harmony, and balance, as within, so without, and it could include the idea of soulmates or kindred spirits. In reverse, disharmony or inner conflict, or a need for stabilization.
And from the Secrets of the Witch's Garden, the question to write the reversal for yourself is, how can I love myself?
And I have 3 messages from the universe if you're ready.
Yes, I'm ready. I got my tea. I've got my fluorite crystal. I'm ready.
I have 3 cards from the Archangel Oracle. I figured since Archangel Raphael made an appearance, I would just roll with it. Okay, so card 1, 2, or 3. The first card is Archangel Michael, Divine Power. Archangel Michael is stepping forward to remind you of who you are and your ability to create the life that you desire. His reminder is to recognize the divine creator within yourself so that you may access your soul's creative power to bring your dreams and inner visions to life. Your next steps right now are to witness yourself and the strength, truth, and power that you hold within. Recognize the moments in your life where you have shown up in that energy and call on these parts to carry you forward into where you desire to go now. You have all of the divine support and connection that is necessary to bring you forward on this journey. Your soul is calling you into the next phase of your path that will elevate you into your truth and divine potential. You are ready to call upon your inner creative power to manifest this potential. Trust in yourself and who you are. You are capable, worthy, and powerful. Channeled message from Archangel Michael. Dearest one, I am here to support you in aligning with the true power and strength of your soul. You are here for a divine purpose, and now is the time to trust in the creations and visions of your heart. I am here to bring you forward into the powerful energy of creation within. Look within and see that you already have all that it takes. I am here to guide you and your next steps so you may bring forth into fruition your dreams and visions. Prayer. Dear Archangel Michael, lovingly remove anything that is not aligned with my true strength and inner power. I ask that you help me take away any fears that have held me back and kept me stuck. Reveal to me the truth of my inner being and my creative power. Help me to see myself for the divine spiritual being that I am. Surround me with your energy of love and protection so that I may feel safe and supported as I create the visions of my heart. And so it is. Card 2, Leap of Faith. It is time to step into the unknown. Message from Archangel Michael. Again, You hold yourself back in indecision. Lean into your intuition and wisdom. Know that you are supported as you take a leap of faith into the unknown now. Archangel Michael is stepping forward with this card to help you make a decision and move forward. Often we get stuck in a decision between staying within our comfort zone or stepping into the unknown. The reminder for you with this card is that the unknown holds so many opportunities that would otherwise not be accessible from within your zone of comfort or familiarity. Sometimes it is required for us to take risks in order to move forward and step into what we truly desire. Archangel Michael is here with you now to help you weigh the risks as you take a leap of faith into the path of what you truly desire. You can also call on Archangel Michael to support you with making the decision if you've been feeling stuck on where to go. He is guiding you to lean into the wisdom of your body and soul. When you look at your options, observe the expansiveness or contraction that you feel in your body and in your heart space. The feelings of expansiveness indicate growth and potential. Feelings of contraction indicate misalignment from your soul's divine path. Trust that the leap of faith you are being guided into is for your highest good. Your soul knows what you are capable of, and you are ready to embrace the higher truth and potential that is available to you now. Journaling prompt: what new opportunities desire to make their way into my reality now? And card 3, healing and alignment. A big breakthrough is coming. Message from Archangel Raphael and Archangel Haniel. You are going through a process of healing right now that will bring you into alignment with your soul's desires. Your healing is leading you into your biggest breakthrough. On the other side of healing is a breakthrough and powerful shifts. You are receiving this card because a breakthrough is unfolding right now as you move through a healing process. Receiving this card is an indication that you are about to experience a powerful shift on your journey. It is encouraging you to keep going and to trust in the healing process and how it is unfolding. Archangel Haniel and Archangel Raphael are holding the space for you right now so that you can process your emotional energy and dig deep within yourself to find the truth of who you are. The process of healing is one where we must get very vulnerable with ourselves in order to emerge with much more strength, courage, and connection to our truth. The breakthrough that is unfolding for you now is a result of the work you are doing right now. It is a reflection of your divine power, and it is meant to propel you forward on your journey. The archangels are encouraging you to take each moment step by step. Do not try to rush the process for the sake of the breakthrough. Know that you cannot mess this up. There is no wrong way, only the way through, which is divinely supported and guided. Trust each step that reveals itself to you, and know that the breakthrough is a byproduct of your healing journey. Keep going, you are almost there. Journaling affirmation: I am ready to experience the true power of who I am through my healing process. Thank you, universe.
Thank you, universe.
And next week we are back with the 8, 9, and 10 of swords.
We will be in that Gemini mutable air season, talking about some swords.
So until then, listeners, thank you. We love you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode. The Radical Podcast is created and produced by Nicole and Christina.
Music by Van Horton. His Instagram is Van Horton Music. Stay in touch with us at linktr.ee/theradicalpodnc.